What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode number 10 of the DUBS podcast. Today we have another special guest, Rice University quarterback Jovo Johnson. We're very glad to have you on today, Jovo. Yeah, so first I just want to say, I found you first on a TikTok video that you posted like a couple weeks ago, and it got like over 6 million views, repost on Instagram by like ESPN, all that, and it was just like your day-to-day as a Division I athlete, so that caught our eye. So just like in a brief summary, like what is the daily life of a Division I football player?
First off, that was extremely wild. Like I did not expect it to blow up like it did. I didn't expect so many people to be interested about what I do on a day-to-day basis. But day to day, since it's later in the summer, I finished my courses. A lot of people were asking about that, and I took calculus 2 this summer, but it was a 7-week course. I finished it earlier this summer, so now it's just a lot of keeping my body right, making sure I'm eating the right things, and obviously getting better at the sport. So my day to day was a lot of going up to the facility. We had workouts and runs, and then I showed just some of the meals that I was eating, just like showing people how many calories you have to eat a day whenever you're living a super active lifestyle. And then also I threw in some stuff for my ankle rehab, stuff like that. Just stuff that I include on a day-to-day basis when I'm going up to the facility for runs and workouts.
Yeah, I took a look at your the diet routine. I was just stunned. Like, whoa, like that's really what athletes have to eat every day to maintain a stable body. So I just had a question. Like, does your team dietitian check up on you like weekly, or is it like a steady, stable diet, or does it get changed or moderated like every few weeks? How does that work?
So that's actually something I love to talk about because our dietitian for our sports programs, Roberta Anding, is
Uh-huh.
also a professor at the school, and she teaches the nutrition class. And I took that class my fall semester. So just being an athlete and knowing what types of things to put in your body from learning in the class and also having your professor double as your dietitian, it helps so much. So what I do is I let Roberta know, like I have Roberta's phone number, we email back and forth. I let her know first off what I'm trying to do with my body. And right now I'm trying to gain weight, but I'm trying to gain clean weight. So
Uh-huh.
diet is a huge part of that. So I let her know what I'm trying to do with my body, what my budget is, because that's a huge part of eating. And
Yeah.
then like she also asks what types of foods do I like, what things do I like to eat? Because I mean, no one wants to follow a diet that they don't like. Everybody wants to eat what they want to eat. No
Yeah.
one wants to have a diet with 3 cheat days a week. So I let her know all those things, and we work together. It's an open dialogue because she taught me a lot of stuff. So obviously I have a good clue of what types of foods I need to be eating, the macros and all stuff like that. But having her expertise as a dietitian and also in the classroom helps a ton when it comes to figuring out the best diet for myself. And it changes. It changes based on what I'm trying to do with my body. It changes based on like if I get tired of chicken and rice and vegetables, then we can find some substitutes. So it's really big having her in our sports facilities and also being able to learn from her.
Yeah, I feel like that's really interesting because, college athletes, they don't make money now, but like in professional, like the next level, your body is your paycheck. So you have to keep it in tip top shape, especially in football. Like, you could get injured like very easily. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. We had a Zoom call with Christian McCaffrey,
Oh,
and he let us
okay.
know a little bit about like his NFL schedule, and like it makes my schedule look like cake. But he was telling us, he said, you don't put diesel fuel in F1 cars, you don't put junk in a high performance machine. So
Yeah.
he was just letting us know the importance of your diet, the importance of the things you do on the day to day to keep up with your body.
Yeah, so you mentioned how finishing up your courses. You said you took Calc 2, and Rice is a very academic heavy college, and at our high school, we're also a very prestigious academic school, and we all played sports at the same time. So, like, how has the academic life affected? Like, how do you balance that being at Rice?
Um, yeah, like you said, Rice University is an insane academic school. It's
Yeah.
consistently a T20 college. So definitely there's a lot that has to go into balance. And the biggest thing that I've learned over my freshman year was time management. Because freshman fall, like going into a D1 school as a quarterback, there's so much of the playbook you have to learn. And I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to play in 4 games. So just trying to cram all that in, and also the education that you receive at Rice. And we have this saying on our football team, it's called intellectual brutality. So it's on the field, it's in the classroom. It's just like a way of life of attacking things every day. So the biggest thing that I've had to learn was time management, because at first there were a lot of late nights or a lot of nights before tests trying to cram and study. But as long as if you make a plan, that was another big thing. I bought a planner. Kind of like I was dissecting my days down to like 30-minute increments of what I should be doing, because if you don't, you start wasting time and you don't even realize it. So just making sure that I'm using all 24 hours of the day to either get better on the field, get better in the classroom, or just like take care of myself mentally, because that's another thing. It's very draining going to such a prestigious university and also playing football at such a high level. So just having that time in the day to take care of your mental health and stuff like that also is something that I had to place a lot of importance on.
So I wanted to ask, like, how'd you get recruited / like to get towards Rice? Like, was it just from high school play? Did you do showcases, or like did scouts go to your high school games? Like how did that become your eventual choice to play at Rice?
I actually got recruited by Rice like pretty late in the recruiting season, I guess. But
Okay.
I was getting recruited by the Ivy Leagues out of high school because I had really good grades. I was doing a lot of community and like really good test scores. So most of the people that come to Rice do get recruited by the military academies, the Ivy Leagues as well. So I was talking to a coach from Cornell, and I was also getting recruited by Vanderbilt at the time. And the coach came down to Vanderbilt, so I went to a camp there because like all the coaches, they want to see you throw in person. They want to talk to you in person. So I went to that camp, and Rice was not even on the radar. But at the camp, I guess I did some things that caught the coach's attention. I talked to our offensive coordinator after, and later they had an opening and they offered a full scholarship. I came on the official visit, and it just really felt like home. Like obviously, Vanderbilt's a nice school. The Ivy Leagues are really nice, but I wanted a place that felt like home. And the way that the in-home visit went, the way the official went, how kind they were to me and my mom, the decision made itself for me, honestly.
Yeah, I was looking at like your bio on like the Rice football page, and it was talking about like what you did in high school and like how you led your team to the state like semifinals. But then it also said you were Air National Guard Scholar Athlete of the Year, National Honor Society and National Merit Scholar, a Golden Lamp Outstanding Student. I haven't heard that, but it sounds very prestigious. And then Arkansas 2nd District Team Corps. Like I don't know how you found the time for that in high school, but like I was just very interested when I saw that and very amazed. Like, you know, football, you spend a ton of time, you know, like you said, learning the playbook, all the plays, all that, and then you still have time not only for school but other extracurricular activities. Like I was just very fascinated by that.
Yeah, and I can't like give those guys enough credit for how much they worked with me with my schedule. Because I mean, like obviously with cramming that much stuff into my schedule and all of it I was interested in. I had so much fun in high school doing all of it. But they were so accommodating. If I had to miss for a game weekend, I couldn't go and speak at this one thing because I had a game that Friday night. Everyone just like worked with me so much, and the community in Conway, Arkansas is unreal. It just makes you want to give back so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have a question like regarding now that you have transitioned, you have a full year of college football under your belt. So like how has regarding high school, it's a lot different, and like technology wise, I saw on one of your TikToks that VR, that looks unreal, man. Like what kind of technology like that has really helped you develop your game that you didn't have in high school, and like transition your game fully to be college ready, like regarding technology?
So definitely, yeah, it is a huge transition. And I noticed that my freshman fall, I got to play in a couple games, and the game speed is just like magnified so much. Everyone's so much bigger, and it seems like everybody knows what they're doing except for you. So definitely having access to so much more film. Like in high school, we used Huddle. You get the chance to scout teams before you see them against other teams. But the breakdown that our technology guys, and our film and scout like recruiter, whatever that section of our program is. Sorry, I don't know exactly what it is, but they do an amazing job of getting us everything we want. If I want a team broken down by a formation like 3-by-1, or I want a team broken down by what personnel they have on the field, they're all just a text away, and it's just like same day, next day, everything is at my fingertips for seeing teams. And obviously the VR system, that may be that was my best friend through last fall. Like, it's just like, because you can't simulate game speed reps by watching film. You get the chance to slow it down. You're looking at the entire field at one time. But when you get on the VR, you have the chance to check yourself. And if you have someone else watch, they're like, no, your eyes need to be here. You get a feel for the timing. You get a feel for where your eyes are supposed to be and when they're supposed to be where. So having all that technology, of course, helps a lot. But just like the up schedule, because in spring or in high school, my springs were I was helping with the baseball team and doing basketball and stuff like that. But here it's like I have nothing but time to get better at football. So
for football.
That's also helped a lot.
Speaking of baseball, basketball, helping around with them, I'm not a football guy at all. By the way, I'm all baseball, soccer. That's my thing. But like, we looked at like your stature. I don't know why that's kind of weird. I don't know. But, you have like you have like a decent sized stature. So we were thinking, like, did you ever play any other sports when you were younger? It could be high school or before high school.
When I was really young, I was into a ton of sports. So I was playing baseball, soccer, basketball, just about anything that I could play, I was trying to play. But then when I got older, into junior high, I narrowed it down to like basketball and football. And soccer was I'm be honest, I didn't really like soccer that much. I liked baseball. I didn't like soccer that much. When I got into high school, and my uncle was actually our basketball coach at my high school. So I stopped playing because I stopped playing the year before I would have played for him. So it was just football all throughout high school. And then my senior year, for some reason, as all seniors do, I wanted to play every sport again. So I did manager for the basketball team, and I did like a super late tryout for baseball, but we only had spot for pitching, and I am terrible at pitching. Throwing a baseball, throwing a football, completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played a bunch of sports growing up, and just narrowed it down into football just to like use the off season to work on my body more so than anything else.
That's very interesting. And like, now that you were in the off season, with all the pandemic and stuff, because I know you had another popular TikTok that you posted, like the off season, like off days of what you do. So like during this off season, how has like the pandemic like affected like what you do?
Rice has put a ton of like really good policy in place to keep us really safe. And the thing I don't know how to explain it, but the way the pandemic has affected us most is, the normal ways. Instead of traditional meetings, all of our meetings are virtual. In the weight room, we only have 10 people at a time. There's like, you're not having to change weight for other people. You have your own station, and there's no one else around you. Masks are enforced almost any time you're indoors. And it's just different. You're a lot more isolated. You don't see your team as much. And at first, like before I came back to Houston, when I was in Arkansas, and when the pandemic was like, when it was full on, everything was shut down, restaurants, gyms, everything. We were doing body weight workouts, and I was running in my neighborhood, and it's super hard to stay motivated during that. But just being able to talk to the team on Zoom meetings and get a feel of, hey, everybody's going through the same things. No one has access to weights. We're all doing like the same stuff essentially. It really helps you keep looking forward to what we're all working for instead of just day to day, because that grind does get very boring, and it's hard to stay motivated. So that may be the biggest thing like the pandemic has affected.
Yeah, I know for me and Luke, because Jesus doesn't play baseball in college, but for me and Luke, we haven't had our last practice was like over 3 months ago. And, over the last maybe month and a half, Luke and I have been like doing our best, like finding days to like work out. Like he has his own setup at home. Me and a group of friends, we have a setup at a friend's house that we do, just trying to stay in the best shape we can.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, we might not even have a season to come back to, being in our senior years. So like like you said, like it's hard to stay motivated for that, but you just got, got to keep grinding for it.
Uh-huh.
All right, so I have a question. So I was looking at your guys' schedule. You guys play, but before conference games, you guys play some tough Division I opponents. I was like, dang,
Yeah.
you guys play LSU this year. So I just wanted to feel like what's the atmosphere and vibe playing a power conference team like Texas or Baylor last year. What's the adrenaline rushing through you guys' bodies?
Obviously, it's very easy to get intimidated by the bigger schools, but just from experience of seeing them being on the field, with the teams, we played Army last year that had I forget if it was 10-2 or 11-1 season the year before, and we lose 14-7. We play Baylor the next week, 20-7, a 2-score game, and it's really easy to get intimidated by them, but it's also you understand those guys are college students just like us, There's not as much of a difference as it seems like. And it's really good to play tough competition teams because when NFL scouts come and look, you know what games they want to see. They want to see the games against you playing the best of the best. So you get that chance to show how you perform against tougher competition. And you also get that chance to take a step back and see where our team is on a national level instead of just in Conference USA. So it's a lot of fun, and I feel like it gets us really ready to head into conference play because you go from playing a 6'5", 280 defensive end to playing a 6'3", 270, 260 DN. So it's definitely I love that we play the tougher teams because you never get a feel for where your team is unless you go against the best of the best.
Yeah, it's your guys' time to shine on the national spotlight. You guys got nothing to lose. It's time to show.
Exactly.
I also was very interested in how he worded everything because that's almost like the same kind of thinking like our coach has. Like we're a lower tier division. I think it's different how they do it in like Arkansas than they do in California. There's 7 divisions and Division 1's the best, Division 7's the worst. We're in Division 5.
Yeah.
So and our coach puts us against a ton of D4, D3, sometimes even D2 teams. For the exact reason you say, to get a feel for where you at, also making us mentally strong if we're in a long game. And, it's also for me, I don't know, for other people, I like playing against the better teams because the atmosphere is better. I remember our freshman year, we played at USC against this Division 3. They're now a Division 2 team. And Jesus was pitching that game. It was super fun playing against some of the best players in our area, and I don't know, I had a blast that day.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, I wasn't here 2 years ago, but 2 years ago we played LSU in Death Valley, and just seeing the videos from that game, it's absolutely insane. The environments that you get to play in when you play teams like that. But definitely, it's always fun getting to play best of best.
All right, so talking about memories and stuff. So, what has been your favorite memory during your first year playing college football so far at Rice?
Let's see. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
My favorite memory would probably be it may have been our second week coming when we all moved in as freshmen, because I mean, you come in and your freshman class is always tight because you all get in, you don't know each other, and you don't know the rest of the team. So that may have been the most fun part. We had a couple cookouts. We had some pool parties. The coaching staff did a really good job of making sure that we bonded as a freshman class. So that week was probably more fun than anything.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize. I only played football in 8th grade for a junior high thing, but flag football. Some people don't realize that in football, the team, it could just be just the offense and just the defense, two separate, but you have to be connected, a very strong connection with all 11, the 10 other guys on the field, because, I know the quarterback always has a very strong relationship and normally rooms with the center, just because just have to have that strong connection on the field because that's when you play your best. And I don't know, that just feels like Rice did like a very good job in like having a bonding like session with the freshmen.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so regarding your future at Rice, like what are some personal goals you may have for the next year and for the rest of your college career at Rice University?
One goal that we hold team wide is making a bowl game,
Yeah.
getting to that 6-win mark and just pushing over and getting into a bowl game and then winning that bowl game, because that's something that we feel like we're all it's very possible for us. Like we're not far away from it. We're in because college football, all games come down to the fourth quarter, regardless of the disparity in talent, the disparity in like rank of the teams. Almost all games are decided in the fourth quarter. So just finishing games, playing a full 4 quarters, that is one of our main team goals for this year. And for me personally, it would be putting more stress on defensive coordinators, because obviously last year I got to showcase more of my running ability, and being athletic at the quarterback position, it really is a dual threat, because people say the name so much, but you don't really think about it. The quarterback's often unaccounted for in many defensive schemes. So being in a position where I put more pressure on D coordinators, make them spend more time in the week game planning for me, that way I can get the ball to our other weapons and let our guys work in space.
Yeah. That's the thing I always love about – I like college football more than NFL, because you see more of the dual threat quarterback where, like you said, you have to have like linebackers or sometimes even D linemen being like containing the quarterback, staying in like spies and all that, you see, like more fun plays or like trick plays, reverse, all that, I know you're talking about Army. They always do like the triple option and all that. So you just never see that in the NFL. And that's why I like college football more, because there's more difference in like there's so many different types of teams.
Yeah, big emphasis on making explosive plays.
Okay, so I have a question regarding being a quarterback, like how much extra practice do you have to do apart from like the rest of your teammates, and having like quarterback only practices and like quarterback specific drills and practices?
Well, definitely in our practice schedule, there's our practice schedule is based on like a period system, and we go a certain number of periods, and there's periods that we are together with our inside group and we're just working run game. There's periods when we do 7-on-7, we're working our DBs, receivers, and there's periods where we're all together as a team, and there's periods where we're in our position groups. So in a normal practice, I wouldn't say that the quarterbacks are doing any more work, but outside of practice, like everyone's obviously getting extra work. Anyone that's confused is working on the things that they need to improve. But from playing the position of quarterback, there's so much more to learn other than just your own job. It's being accountable for the 10 other guys on offense and making sure that they feel comfortable and confident in their jobs as well. So I would say there's just the quarterback of your team should spend the most time in the film room, just because he should know the most about the defense that we're going against, and quarterbacks are an extension of the coaching staff onto the field. So that was one thing I had to learn. I had to be more diligent in my film study, and also more diligent in learning the playbook, because it's easy to look at a diagram and know what your progression is and know what we should be getting to depending on which coverage we get. But when you're on the field, there's no diagrams. You can't just hold RT and pull up the play to refresh your mind. So definitely just making sure I'm sound and knowing what I'm supposed to do, and confident in knowing my guys, because at the end of the day, you can know the X's and O's, you can know where everyone should be, but it's football. There's 10 other guys, and the probability of everything going perfect is very low. So just having a plan, a backup plan, and a plan for if your backup plan doesn't work. So definitely just being super confident, and I mean that in the best way possible, because it allows you to be decisive on the field. So there's a lot more on the mental side that goes into playing quarterback. And then obviously with myself being a dual threat athlete, there are drills and things that I do to make sure that my escapability is where it needs to be. My ability to get outside of the pocket and extend plays is where it needs to be. So it's just it's a dual edged sword. And there's also, when you get into playing quarterback, the mechanics of throwing. So there's the mental side, knowing the playbook and everything. There's a physical side, making sure your body can endure a full 4 quarters, because college football games are long. And then there's making sure your mechanics, lower half, upper body, are all in place where they need to be for throwing the football. It's just a lot of things that all come together, and then you try to put them together as best you can on the field.
So I, as a baseball player, I play catcher. So a lot of things about being a catcher, you have to know the signs. You have to really memorize those signs, because screwing up a sign in a game could literally be the difference of you winning or losing.
Yeah.
So as a quarterback, how long does it take to really like get a good feel of the playbook? How long does it take to memorize the playbook? Like
That's a really tough question, because if you ask me right now, I'm comfortable with our playbook, but do I feel as comfortable? I feel like the entire time you're somewhere, whether it be in high school, college, or the NFL, you should be learning the playbook. And playbooks are fluid. Like, we add stuff, we take stuff out, we tweak stuff, we put in new concepts every day. And every install, you may see something that you've never seen before. So I don't think you ever get to a point where where you have the playbook memorized, but you get to a point where you're comfortable enough that you feel confident you can execute anything in the playbook. And I mean, that's what I'm working towards. And obviously it's really hard without being able to go and get like game speed reps practicing, or go and get game speed reps in games, because we haven't like practiced formally as a team since March, since spring ball. So it's tough to do that given the circumstance, but definitely learning a playbook is something that it's like you're always doing. You never memorize a complete playbook.
Yeah. So you've said, the importance of being a dual threat, how, you can affect a team both with your arm and with your legs. And, this past NFL season, Lamar Jackson winning the MVP and him being like not your typical NFL quarterback. He ran, 15 times a game or something. And then he also threw a lot. So who do you think, like, is that someone you model your game after? Or is there someone you like have as like a role model, or like say like, I want to play like this guy either in college or like be like him in the next level?
That's a really tough question, because being a dual threat quarterback, the main worry is durability and the longevity of your game.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to say that I model my game after Lamar Jackson, because if I played like Lamar Jackson, I don't know how many seasons I could play like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So one quarterback I definitely do love to watch play is Deshaun Watson. And I think he does a really good job of being smart. Well, he has started to do a better job about being smart, when to take hits, when to not let the defense square him up. So that would be the one quarterback I say that I would model my game after. But it's definitely, it changes for every quarterback with how big you are, because a guy like Cam Newton, 6'5", 250, can take a lot more hits than Lamar Jackson. But it just changes, and I'm trying my best to know when it's time to display athleticism and get to as many yards as I can, and when it's time to get out of bounds or slide versus taking a bigger hit. So definitely there's a balance.
What'd you think about Deshaun's Madden rating, man? He got rocked. Not an 80.
Yeah, he lost a bunch of weapons this offseason. So
God, that was some bad decision making.
Yeah, bad decision making. So I have one last question to wrap it up. So what's been your like best in game memory at the college level so far? Like out on the field, what was your favorite? Was it your first snap, or like what stood out to you the most, like out on the field during your first season playing at Rice?
It would probably be my first snap. If I'm being honest with you, like completely honest, I do not remember my first snap. I don't remember the first play at all. I was so nervous out there on the field, but that was a lot of fun. It would be between starting my first game against Marshall. That was really exciting. or our last game against El Paso, I got to score twice. So we had an issue. We were winning games, but we were not like winning by a lot because we couldn't score points in the second half. And then I scored twice in the second half. We kind of put the game away, and that was a lot of fun. Just a really good way to close the season out on a win. So that may have been the most fun, and also like the parties in the end zone after scoring a touchdown. Everybody runs. It's just a big celebration. The party just moves to the sideline. That's so much fun. Just being able to celebrate with the entire team. That was definitely my favorite memory of my freshman season.
Well, one thing we did read about that came up on like the Rice football bio for you is that your first snap, it was like a 25-yard run that you have. We thought that was we thought that was pretty interesting. That like, oh, like your first ever snap, and then you take off at 25 yards.
Yeah, I came back to the sideline and my coach was like kind of mad at me because I like ran out of bounds at the end of it. I was losing balance, and he was like, "You could have scored if you stayed in bounds." I was just happy to be out there.
Yeah. So much was running through your head.
Yeah.
Must have been amazing, man.
Fun.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this interview. JoVoni Johnson, do you have any last words for people at home listening?
Just for all the people in the Houston area, make sure if we have a season this fall, come out and catch a game. Should be really exciting. Plan on doing big things this year. Go Owls.
All right.
All right.
Go Owls indeed.
Thank you.
So that will do it for the episode today. Please make sure to listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor. We have so many platforms for you guys to listen to it on. This will be out on Wednesday, the 22nd, and then Thursday, the 23rd for the YouTube video. So, yeah, thank you, Jovo, for being on the podcast.
Hey, thank you very much, Jovo. It was a pleasure to have you, man.
And
Thanks, man.
see you guys next time. Peace. Wear your masks.